Hello and good morning from Dartmoor, and today we're going to talk about this. This is wonderful compost that was sifted out of our compost heap just a few days ago, and as you can see it is wonderful stuff. And to get there we have a 3 bay system, but the actual third bay we just use for leaf mulch. So for kitchen waste we used the 2 bays that we have here. And what I tend to do is that compost took 2 years to make, and it came from this middle bay. That middle bay had been covered up and it had been left to its own devices probably for about a year, totally covered and left. So I'd started it 2 years ago, and then I covered it over about a year ago and then left it alone. And then I used the bay over on the left hand side for all fresh waste, all fresh kitchen waste. Now, once I'd turned over the compost in this one that I'm sitting on, so the old compost, and sifted it all out, I had an empty bay. So that's the perfect time to turn over the compost that has now been used on a daily basis for the last 1.5 to 2 years. And that all needed to move into this bay. The reason for doing that is because it needs turning anyway, and rather than turning it in the bay it's already in, because it's quite full, I moved it over to this side here. So this has now been covered up, and this will be left for about a year before I come back to it, and we will have more of this good stuff. Meanwhile, over on the left hand side here, the bay over there, what I'm going to show you now is ultimately what we have, which is not a lot. So we've got some fresh stuff that's literally just gone in today, and that's just going to be the case. That's just going to keep getting added to, and every maybe 4 or 5 months I'll turn that over, and if needs be, what I'll do is I will mix in some other woodier material or drier material. Sometimes grass cuttings are a useful thing to put in there, and that will help keep the mix up, and it helps with the aeration, and it provides a really great habitat for invertebrates and other animals that you want in there, because they help break down the material. And what we have in terms of material is this. So we use just these regular kind of council provided compost bins, and what we do is when they fill with waste, like this is now full of waste and needs to go in the compost bay there, but once it's been emptied in, what I tend to do is I use a lot of dry leaves, grass, anything from the garden really, to just line the bin. And the reason for lining the bin is this is the kind of material that I might be putting in here anyway to help with the breakdown of the kitchen waste. It helps aerate, as I said, the compost. But by putting it in the bin itself, I have more control over it, and it's mixed in more gradually over the months. So I think that just works quite nicely. And I occasionally add stuff like this. This is like twiggy stuff that's it's old fennel stalks actually, and that I find quite useful again because it helps create a little bit of structure within the composting system. So that is really it about compost. Just keep at it, keep trying your own different methods. There is lots and lots of people who have different ways of doing it. This is our way. We only use kitchen waste. Sometimes I use waste from the garden, like grass cuttings and dry material, as I've mentioned. I don't put anything in that's cooked, generally speaking, and everything that goes in there is generally plant-based. I wouldn't put anything meat or dairy in there, for example. And the main reason for that is actually it encourages rats, and maybe you don't want to have that. But also I just like to keep my compost as much as possible plant-based. and that's really it. So thank you very much for joining me today here on Dartmoor. Thank you for getting down and dirty with compost making, and I hope you have a really great day. And thank you so much for lending me your time, and look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye bye.